So Hines, obviously you had probably high expectations of this wide receiver transfer haul. Now that spring is coming to an end, has it lived up to your expectations?
Oh yes, I mean it's great to be able to work with the talent of the guys that we brought in. But you know, Coach Kenny, his whole objective this all season, he wanted to make the room competitive. You know, we wanted to bring some guys in from other schools that made plays, and it was kind of cool, you know, because the common thread between all the guys that ended up here, the one key word was development. That's all they wanted. You know, they saw JT and his growth as a football player, and they wanted to be a part of that. So it made my job easy. It's like, you know, just come on here, ASU, opportunity and development. Those are the two key points that we were stressing to all the guys, and I'm glad that we have them.
Hey, Coach, some of the underclassmen have really stood out to me, like Uriah and Corey. Just what have you seen of them growth-wise over the last year or so?
Oh, tremendous growth. I mean, Uriah, from never having to play the position, to coming out and seeing how much he's improved within a year. This shows this dedication of truly just putting in the work, and eventually it's going to click for him. But that was really the whole objective of why we brought the guys in. I think bringing the guys that we brought in really elevated everybody level as far as competition. You know, they always say competition brings out the best in everyone, and I think overall as a unit, I think we've done that.
What do you think about these new transfer receivers from a blocking and physicality standpoint?
No, they're going to block. That's one thing. Before I even said, I don't even want you if you're not going to block. You know, it's just really about building the complete wide receiver. You know, we got some explosive running backs. You don't have to block very long. You know, you just got to stay on your guys. But that's what the scouts look for. They don't just look for just guys. Just, you know, how can you impact the game when you're not catching the football? And I want our tape to kind of stand out and be different from other schools. Our wideouts here at ASU, they will block down on the outside. You see some of the perimeter runs that we had over spring ball. A lot of it stems from the guys blocking downfield. So anytime you see kind of an explosive run by our running backs, I'm pretty sure that you see some great blocking down the field. You know, you probably won't get recognized or be in the newspaper for it, but we'll make sure that we highlight the effort and the energy of what it takes. And so far, it's been a great just seeing everybody just buy into the culture, buy into kind of the expectations and our standards of ASU wide receivers. We will block. You're not going to play.
Coach, you're no stranger to heated rivalries. Obviously, in your playing day, you played against the Ravens, and then here in Tempe, they have the huge rivalry against the U of A. So, what's like the piece of advice that you give to your players going into these like heated rivalry matchups?
That's the one you circle. That's the date you circle. I don't care what it is. It's around Thanksgiving time. A lot to be thankful for, but a genuine dislike for one another, but ultimate respect for each other. So glad to be a part of the series and stuff. You know, last year was disappointing. You know, it didn't go our way, but you know, that adds fuels to the fire. You know, that bringing in the portal guys and let them understand what that rivalry is all about.
When you look at a guy like a Reed Harris from a physicality standpoint, his size, how much of a nightmare is he for defensive backs just because of his size?
I don't want to let the cat out the bag too much. He's got a long ways to go. He's terrible. He's you know, he's not what I thought he would be. No, he's awesome, man. He's been amazing just to work with. All the guys, you know, just his size alone, I mean, that's a dominant trait you just can't teach. You know, you either have it or you don't. It's really gonna, I think with the guys that we brought in addition to the older guys that we have coming back, you know, defensive, the coordinator's gonna be up all night trying to figure out how to stop these guys, because if you play one-on-one, I like our chances and one-on-one coverage with the guys that we brought in.
And Coach, rumor has it that you'll be headed to Pittsburgh for the NFL draft. Jordan getting drafted. Yeah. What's it going to be like to share that moment with him after all the work that he put in here?
You know, I told him, man, you know, really it's the man above that brought us to it. You know, it's kind of crazy. I came here, had 2 great years with JT, and then to have the draft in Pittsburgh and to be a part of that, and you know, he wanted me to tag along and be a part of that. Man, I wouldn't miss that day in the world. So I'm super excited about his opportunity, and whoever he ends up with is going to get a real one. He's going to make some plays his rookie season. So I'm excited about his opportunity, and just to see where he started when I first came here to who he is today. man, I couldn't be any prouder of JT right now.
Coach, what do you thought about the battle just overall between your receivers and the DBs?
Oh, it's been a great battle. I mean, it's what we call iron sharpen iron, right? It's just all of our guys come from big-time programs, and they coming out here day in and day out, you know, just to see their love for competition. You know, Kenny always talk about competition and wants this whole team to be competitive. That's why we have the basketball goal in the team room. Everything that they do, it all surrounds competitive. You know, I think, like I say, it's competition makes other guys better. And every time I get an opportunity, I'm volunteering our guys to get up there and team comp because I want to see, you know, what they do when the lights are on them. So so far so good. You know, I think it's been a competitive battle with the wideouts and DBs, but I just like where we're trending, man. We're trending in the right direction, man. I'm super excited to get through, finish up this spring ball, and really get them. You know, I think they've been acclimated to our playbook, and now you're starting to see them just having fun and letting their skill set show.
Speaking of competitive nature, just how beneficial was it to have Clayton in the room for
Clayton was awesome, man. I you know, just having him, to be able to teach a guy, you know, he always said, Coach, I got hands, yeah, but you got to run routes as well. So, but just to see him, you know, show up each and every day during spring ball, the thirst for wanting to know more about the position. And then you actually see he wasn't half bad when he got out there, you know. So shockingly, he was awesome for our room. And I told him anytime, you know, that was Kenny's decision. And he's the head boss man. He's like, hey, I got a project for you this summer. I was like, oh, this spring. I said, he said, Clayton Smith. I said, yes, sir. But he's been a blast to work for. Now, I think having been around us, you get a greater appreciation for what we do on the outside. And he keeps talking about, man, I made the transition back to defense and now I'm hurt again. So I think he liked being on the offensive side of the football, but he was a joy to coach. And anytime if we need some legs or something, he's more than welcome back in the receivers room. He's still on the receiver chat board, so I haven't deleted him out of that. I still sending all the plays and all the, you know, reminders to him. So just in case, you never know.
What
Going
stands
back to
out?
an earlier question about the NFL, you were a coach in the NFL and the XFL, coaching grown men compared to now coaching young adults growing into grown men. So, like, what is your perspective on that change?
Oh, it's been a blessing. I think this is my calling. I enjoy college. You know, I really do, because, you know, I've been where these kids want to go. It's not just, you know, coaching and developing football players, but developing young men. You know, it's about, you know, giving back. You know, it's service, really. You know, I want the best for these kids, and I think, you know, the time that I spend with them, they truly know that I genuinely care about them and for their well-being, not just as football players, but as human beings. I want them to be successful in life when football is no longer available for them. So I'm constantly preaching to them about the little stuff, and it's been a joy to work with these guys, and hopefully, you know, they're super excited to get coached by me. So I'm super excited, super blessed to be here at ASU, and I'm going to continue to build what I'm doing. I want to build a world-class wide receiver core that, you know, week in and week out, that we're the ones that help put our hands in the pile and help try to win some ball games around here.
Follow-up question, what do you think is like the main difference from having a player's perspective to a coaching perspective? I mean, you being obviously a star player in the NFL, to making the transition.
I think probably the advantages, you know, that you have, because I've been behind the face mask. I've been in that huddle. So I know what a successful practice looks like because I've been a part of it. But all in all, I think probably more than anything, that's probably the only difference than me and some of the coaches who haven't played, you know. But being in that huddle, understanding the ins and outs, understanding that football is hard, man. It's hard to come out here and do the same thing over and over. It's not made for everybody. So just, you know, coming from a point of view, I've been there, you know, kind of gives me a little credibility. So having an understanding how the guys feel. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I cannot compromise practice. You got to practice because it throws off the timing of everything. So you just got to find a way to how do you manage to get through practice when you're not feeling at your best, and that's a mental state of mind. So just teaching these guys to be strong mentally, and ultimately, by the end of the day, they end up getting through it, and you know, I don't want any excuses about anything. You know, oh, I'm not feeling today. I just walk away when I start hearing stuff like that.
What are your thoughts on Raiden so far?
Raiden's been awesome. I mean, the kid's explosive. You hear about Omarion and Reed, but he's been really a joy and a blessing for our room. The kid can play very versatile, play a lot of different positions. He can run, he can catch, man. I know he's super excited to be back home. I know he's super excited to be here at ASU, man, and I'm super excited to have him in our room and helping us development and growth.
Even their preach accountability for the wide receivers. Obviously, when you start spring practice with pretty much a brand new quarterback room, there's going to be some growing pains with the passing game when spring practice starts. Has that really fulfilled your expectations, both the slow start and just really getting into the groove?
It's a process. It's a process. You just have to keep things in perspective. Like, we're not going to come out here and be lighting it up. I mean, we got a new room in quarterbacks, new room in the wide out rooms, O-line. I mean, we got a bunch of, and it takes time. Offensively, it takes a little more time to kind of mesh. Probably more time than the defensive side, because we have to get an understanding. Our quarterbacks have to understand how receivers run their routes and things like that. But I like the direction that we're heading. We're getting better each and every day, and that's really what Kenny's always preaching about. Try to be the best version of yourself each and every day you step on this football field. And I think we're trending in the right direction. We've done that thus far.
Going back to Jordan, if he's still on the board at 21 when the Steelers pick, are you going to be hoping that he ends up wearing your same colors?
Hell yeah. You know what, man? Wherever God wants him to be, man, it's going to be. And of course, I'm a little biased, of course, the black and gold, but I'm excited just to see whatever. And I tell all the scouts and all the teams, whatever team end up drafting him, you're going to get a winner. I know the work that he's put into it. I chuckle sometimes because they try to write the narrative. He's not physical and stuff like that, and and JT would call me from time to time like, man, that's crazy. I say, listen, Jay, that's one thing about the NFL. It's a business. Anything that they can do to get you at a cheaper rate, trust me, they're going to do it. They're going to talk bad about you, and I can guarantee you they would love to draft you in as lowest, as cheap as possible that they can get you. I mean, he's a first-round talent. He's going to be fine. Injury-wise, listen, there's a fluke injury with his collarbone. Like 3 guys fell on him. The hamstring, that happens at the wide receiver position. But, what I found out about JT and the gutsy that he had to come back, the resiliency to come back in that Texas Tech game, when he popped it in the third quarter, I tried to pull him out. And a lot of scouts didn't know the story. I was like, no, man, it ain't worth it. He said, Coach, man, I love my brothers. I don't know what's going to happen. If this is going to be my last game, I want to do all I can, even if I can't run the route. And he single-handedly, on that last drive, led us down all the way and helped us win that game. And that's where I learned a lot about JT's toughness, of who he is as a person. It sounded a lot like myself as a player. I didn't want to come out of the game. So I don't know. People questioning JT's toughness and stuff, I just laugh at it because, I've been with him on a day-to-day basis. I've seen him go through practice. I've seen him try to come back from injuries ahead of time. I mean, if we beat Texas in the bowl game, that the following week he's playing in that game. A lot of scouts didn't know that, So I'm super excited about his opportunity. I can't wait to see what happens on draft weekend and for all our guys, not just JT. I think we're bringing some guys, some players here on our roster that can play at the next level. So I'm super excited to see where everybody ends up. Cool.
Thanks, Hines.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.